Why, hello everybody. Apologies for the late episodes as of recently. I have been super busy we had a party this weekend, so we had quite a bit of party preparations to do. And also had work the last couple days, so I've been rather busy. But today we're going to do another train with me. I found a lot of would you rather questions, but this will be an equestrian edition. So it won't be Star Stable related in a way, but it'll still be kind of horse related in my sense. So I'm excited to do this. So let's get into our first races. I'm also going to be trying to get to the next level of my Trailblazer, which I think is level 30. I'm almost there. Hopefully that'll be good. I try to get 2 done a day if I can since the bonus points ended recently. So let's get into our first race here in Wildwoods. I did already a few 4 races already. So I got a lot of those finished. But we're going to do how many ever races I want to do, and then we'll stop. And then I will pre-record my would I rather versions of what I have here in my notes. So I'm excited for that. So let's get into it. Okay, so some would I rather questions, the equestrian edition. We have, would I rather show a world-class animal in your discipline of your choice or take the world's greatest trail horse out on trail? That is a hard question. I like both of these, but I think I would rather go out on trails. But that's my opinion. You guys can decide what you like too. I just like going on a trail ride and enjoying myself, because it's a lot of fun out on the trails. I haven't showed in a really long time, so that's why I would not pick in a world-class show. So that's why I wouldn't pick that one. Alright, second. Would I rather never see a case of thrush or never see rain rot ever again? Ew. Actually, if you don't know what this is, horses have this little, they call it the frog if you pick up their hoof, like we do in Star Stable. You actually have what's called a frog, which is the little triangle, and you pick that out and see if they have any like rocks in them or if they have any kind of issues in there as well. The farrier also does that too, just to make sure there's no injuries. I would rather never see a case of thrush again. That is a hard one to distinguish, but that's what I would pick. I would never I don't actually know what rain rot is. I've never actually seen rain rot. I've always seen like abscesses and thrush. It's really disgusting, but I'm not gonna bore you guys with those gross details because it's not worth it. Would I rather never run out of fly spray or never lose another horseshoe in the mud? Oh goodness, that is a hard question. Both of these are like really good, but I would rather not lose a horseshoe in the mud, because if you lose a horseshoe, your horse can't do anything discipline wise. Like you can't really take them out, you can't really work them because it hurts their bare foot if they've always had shoes. So if they're not used to having a shoe on and you take them out when they don't have a shoe on, it can cause a lot of issues like lameness for an animal such as that. Would I rather forget to turn off the electric fence when you're supposed to turn it on, or forget to turn on the electric fence when you're supposed to? So I'm guessing this is kind of like in the UK, I'm guessing, because I haven't seen any electric fences here in the United States, or I should say where I live currently. I have never seen this, but I know you can also do that for what we call a Eurosizer, which is like a big round pen kind of thing, but it moves, so it makes your horses walk with a bunch of pressure in between them. It's actually a very interesting little tidbit and technique. I like it. For this one, I'd rather forget to turn it on, actually. Because I don't want to get electrocuted, and I don't want the horses to get electrocuted if I forget to turn it off. But I'd rather forget to turn it on, would be my best pick here. Would I rather leave lush, fertile pastures that you have to walk 20 minutes on foot to access, or a so-so paddock close to the barn? Ooh, that's a good one. Ooh, that's a good one. I'd rather have a so-so paddock close to the barn, because you can keep an eye on your horse in case they do something stupid. Because if you have a pasture that's like a 20-minute walk on foot, it's a bit extreme in my sense for something like that. So I would definitely rather pick the so-so paddock in case your horse does something stupid and it hurts themselves, or if something happens in the pasture and you can't get there in enough time and they actually really hurt themselves really badly to where you can't get to them. But that is my opinion. Alright, more would you rather questions. Would I rather have only a heated indoor arena or only a world-class outdoor arena? I would have to say probably I'd rather have a heated indoor arena, because you can always turn it off if it gets too hot. Because depending on where you live outdoor wise, I think it would not work as well if you have rain constantly and you can't ride. That's why I would rather have like an indoor arena. But I live in an area where it's mainly outdoors, unless it's like a dressage barn. I know they have a lot of indoor arenas, in matter of speaking. Would I rather run out of vet wrap or toilet paper? Ooh. This question is so weird. I don't know how to answer it because both of these are like key. Depending on what you're using the vet wrap for, I'd probably go with vet wrap because we need toilet paper to survive. So I'm gonna say I would rather run out of vet wrap than toilet paper, because I enjoy toilet paper because you have to go to the bathroom every so often, so it makes more sense. Would I rather have a horse that never loses its shoes but is terrible for the farrier, or a horse that constantly loses its shoes but is excellent for the farrier? I'd rather have a horse that consistently loses its shoes but is good for the farrier. Because if you have a horse who is not good for the farrier, then he has a harder they have a harder chance at putting them on than they do having a horse that always loses its shoes. I rarely see this in a lot of, depends on the farrier though. They're always really good at their job, so I would rather have a horse consistently loses its shoes but is good for the farrier. Would I rather lose a boot in the mud or trip and fall in a manure pile? This one's actually quite funny. I've actually lost a boot in the mud, so I'd rather lose my boot in the mud than trip and fall into a manure pile full of horse manure. I would rather lose my boot and get my sock disgusting and my pants disgusting than me fall into a manure pile. Would I rather get free lessons from a local trainer for life or get one free lesson with Greg Morris? If nobody knows who Greg Morris is, he is a quite skilled equestrian in, I believe, the Olympics, because I see him every so often in the Olympics, and he does a bunch of different shows. This one's a toughie because I've only had one really, really good trainer. He's kind of retired right now, but he was an amazing, he was amazing. He was very keen at knowing what you needed and what the horse needed. So it was actually quite one of the best situations I could have ever asked for. I'd rather get free lessons from a local trainer for life. I'm sorry. I don't want one free lesson from a major equestrian. That's just my opinion. Would I rather eat your horse's grain or eat a sandwich that you dropped in the barn aisle? Really? That you asked me this question? You know, I'd rather eat a sandwich that is dropped in the barn aisle. I don't think horse grain is actually good for humans, even though I know it's a vegetarian thing, but I would rather not eat their grain because I know there's a bunch of stuff in there that's good, but I don't wish to get sick. But they both can probably make you sick depending on where you drop your sandwich. Alright. Would I rather smell thrush or a dirty sheath if you were struck smelling one thing for an entire day? I'd rather smell thrush. Sheath cleanings are different because I'm not going to say this on my channel. It's something to do with geldings, so I'm not going to go into any details of that because it does not equal goodness on my channel. It's just a thing us equestrians have to do occasionally if we have a male gelding horse. I don't know if they do it for studs. They probably do. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure they also do it for studs too. So that's my opinion. Would I rather go fox hunting without stirrups or jump a hunter round without a bridle? Good lord. Fox hunting is different because I think it's like, I'm pretty sure it's cross country kind of thing. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm not super skilled at either one, but in the sake of this speaking, I'd rather actually ride without stirrups because I think I would do better without stirrups than with the bridle because I am not skilled with my hands. Oh goodness, this question, oh my. Would I rather get bitten or kicked? I'd rather be kicked, actually. I've been bitten way too many times and I don't want to get bit ever again. I haven't gotten bitten at the barn I'm currently at as of this moment in time, but I have enjoyed quite a bit at this barn that I'm at. I love it to death. It is amazing and I love it. Would I rather fall off in front of everyone at the barn or have an epic save with no one around to witness? I'd rather fall off in front of everyone at the barn. I have done that multiple times. I would rather fall off in front of everyone at the barn. That is just my opinion. I enjoy it because yes, it's embarrassing, but it does happen to us when we ride our horses. So it's bound to happen eventually to someone. And yes, you can get hurt. But other than that, I don't know. The save one is just not what I would want. That's just me. Would I rather own a plain bay that is low maintenance to clean or an eye-catching gray that is consistently filthy? Oh my goodness. Dappled grays are so striking. I love them quite a bit. But I would probably go with the bay that is low maintenance because they're just easy to clean. Yes, they're not as shiny or sparkly as a beautiful gray horse, but I'd rather find something that's like not as hard to keep manageable as a gray, because I know they get filthy so much. I know because we have a gray horse at the barn that I'm at. He's such a brat though. He's hilarious, but he consistently is really gross. But he is really pretty. He's a pretty boy. Would you rather only ever ride one discipline but be a champion within, or get the opportunity to dabble in many? Currently I've only ridden one discipline in my life, but I'm not a champion in it. But I would rather actually get the opportunity to dabble in many disciplines. I would love to do that. I've only ridden one discipline though in my life, but I mean I would like to see how the other disciplines would like work, because I've never actually ridden in any of them. I've only done dressage like a couple times, but that is still one discipline. Which I consider, it's between English and Western. I like both, but I'm an English girl through and through, so I will never probably ride in the Western industry. Eventually, maybe, but probably not soon, but eventually. Would I rather never see snow again or never see mud again? Ooh. I like both. I hate the mud though. I absolutely despise the mud. I hate it because when we have to walk horses through it, they always want to be stupid. I would rather never see mud again because as I said, I don't like the mud. I don't like it. I've never liked it ever. I've never ever liked it. Never. I hate mud. I hate rain because I never want to go outside when it does anything weird. So it definitely would never like to see mud again. Would I rather shed out all of the hair manually or body clip? Oh. I like both, but I've actually never body clipped. I'd rather do it manually. I'm sorry. Yes, it's a ton of work, but it feels good afterwards because they're so soft depending on what kind of de-shedding brush you use. I actually have one, I forget what it's called, but I have one that it actually takes out everyone's, like, the hair, and it actually makes them soft. So it looks really cool. I like it, but that's just my opinion. Would I rather lose halters or lose fly masks out in the pasture? Fly masks. I'd rather lose fly masks, because depending on what kind of halter you have, if they have their name engraved on it, like a super like personalized show horse halter, I know how expensive those things are. Usually I would not like to leave halters unattended or put them in a spot where they are not touched by horses, so like far enough away to where if one's like a menace, they won't destroy it. But that's just me. So I ran out of equestrian questions, but I found some more that I had in my notes here. So let's see, this is kind of like a vacation type questions that I found. Would I rather be left behind during a hike in the Amazon jungle or in the water while scuba diving? I've never done either of these, so I'm gonna say scuba diving, because you kind of can go up and see where the heck you are. If you're in the jungle, you probably would be left for dead out there, but that's just me. Would I rather have unlimited time off but a small travel budget, or only have 1 week off a year but unlimited money to spend during it? Ooh. I've done the second one. It really sucks. I'd rather have unlimited time off but a small travel budget, because me and my family, we don't travel as much. I would eventually like to, but I'd rather have unlimited time off but a small travel budget. Would I rather plan every single detail of a trip ahead of time or play it totally by ear? Actually, I'm the one who did our last trip. So much fun to actually do. I almost plan almost every single bit of our trip, so I'm gonna say I'm definitely going to choose single detail of the trip ahead of time, because you don't want to, if you don't know what you want to see and you're already there, there's no point in, if you get like if you're going through customs depending on where you're going, I would definitely do ahead of time, because if you don't, then they will look at you like, what the heck you do? Why are you here? Would I rather miss my flight or lose my luggage? This question's weird because I've actually missed a flight, but it wasn't our fault because the weather was so bad. I'd rather miss my flight than lose my luggage, because there's a lot of things in my luggage that I would actually want out of it, like my clothes and personal items. So that's a no for losing my luggage. Would I rather stay in a 5-star bungalow over the water for 3 days or stay in a 3-star beach resort for 3 weeks? Wow, that is a hard question. This is a hard question, actually. I actually don't... Both of them sound really interesting. I've actually never stayed at a 5-star anything. I've actually stayed at a 3-star place before. It's not bad. Could use some upgrades and whatnot, but other than that, I'd rather stay in a 5-star bungalow for 3 days that's like over the water, that looks beautiful, because you can get so many great pictures out of that. Would I rather overpack with a 50-pound... Sorry. Would I rather overpack with a 75-pound suitcase and have everything you need, or underpack with a backpack and have almost nothing? I've never had a 75-pound suitcase. I'd rather underpack, because I'd rather underpack. There's no explanation to that. I would rather underpack. Would I rather jump out of a plane with a parachute or dive in a cage surrounded by sharks? I like neither of these. If I had to pick one, I have a weird fear of heights, yet I'm fine on roller coasters. I'd rather jump out of a plane with a parachute. But I hope somebody's with me, because I will freak out. I'm not that person that would jump alone. Would I rather be stuck on a plane with a 3-hour delay or show up at the airport and realize your flight is tomorrow? Oh gosh, I actually had that. We had that. I've actually had both of these on our family vacations. Honestly, I would rather have a 3-hour delay rather than showing up at the airport and realize my flight is tomorrow. Because what is the point in staying at the airport for 24 hours until your flight is there? I'd rather have a 3-hour delay, because we had a 3-hour delay. And this poor couple that we were talking to actually had a connecting flight at LAX when we were flying home from Italy. They had a connecting flight. I have no idea if they made it, because our flight was legit delayed, which was stupid. I still don't understand what the heck the problem was, or something like that. There was like, it was just weird. I don't understand certain things about Italy, but it's alright. It worked. We got home. Would I rather travel with a personal photographer or a personal masseuse? A personal photographer, please. I don't get massages at all. It's not my thing. I would like both, but I would probably say photographer because then your pictures would look spotless and amazing. Would I rather spend a 10-hour flight seated between two quietly crying babies or two loud snoring old men? Quietly crying babies. What? What? Okay. Between. Oh goodness. Actually, I don't mind crying babies. I know there's always going to be some on a flight. So I would rather sit between two quietly crying babies because I do not like loud snoring people in my ear. That would annoy the crap out of me for 10 hours. Both would annoy the crap out of me for 10 hours, but what can you do? Would I rather be snowbound in a cabin in the middle of the forest or marooned on a boat in the middle of an ocean? I'd rather be snowbound in the middle of the forest. That's just how I would work it, because if you're out in the water, you don't have food, you don't have water except salt water. That's just me. I would pick the other thing. Would I rather never be able to travel outside of your country or never be able to return? Oh. This question is very interesting because depending on what country you're stuck in, if you can't return, would be the defining question for me. But that is... Ooh. Actually, I'd rather never be able to return. Even though I have family here, like, say, as I said, it depends on where you're stuck in if you can't return. That's just, it depends on where you're stuck at. Would I rather travel with your ex for a month or travel with your worst boss for a month? Oh, God. I don't have any exes, so I'd rather pick your ex for a month. I'd rather travel with an ex. Because you can probably be friends again if that ever happens. Okay. Would you rather win free airfare for life or free hotel stays for life? Oh, they're both for life. Interesting. So one is free airfare and one is free hotels. Interesting. Actually, I'd rather win free airfare for life. Because depending on what hotel you stay at, it's not always the best. Would I rather have perfect weather for a road trip or no traffic? No traffic is a no-brainer for me, I'm sorry. I hate sitting in traffic because it bothers my brain. Even with music, it still is like, people, hello, let's go. It's just like that weird bothersome thing in your brain of like, can we get going? You guys gonna move? But anyway. Would I rather go on an epic trip where lots of things go wrong or a boring trip where everything goes right? I'd rather go on a boring trip where everything goes right, but I've had both of these experiences. Except for the boring one. None of our vacations have been absolutely boring. They've actually been really fun. I'd still rather have a boring road trip where everything goes right. Would I rather never have to work again, but never be late? Oh, sorry. Would I rather never have to work again, but never be able to leave your hometown, or work remotely for the next 30 years from anywhere? I'd rather work remotely for the next 30 years from anywhere, because that's actually, I've heard it's actually super good money, so. Would I rather have a Would I rather have a fake tan explosion in your suitcase or a spider infestation on your carry-on? Ew, both of these sound so gross. I'd rather have the fake tan explode in my suitcase because depending on what you can use, it probably maybe comes off. Possibly. I hate spiders to death, so that is a ginormous no. Alright. Would I rather never travel again, or would I be... Oh, sorry. My goodness, I keep mixing up my words today. Would I rather never travel again or never be able to live longer than a month in one place? Interesting. A month is not that long of a time. I'd rather never travel again for this one because you need money to move every month if you're gonna do that. So that is a no. Alright. Sorry, I was looking at the time I had left to pre-record this. I have a short amount of time, so we'll do a couple more. Would I rather ride in a helicopter or in a hot air balloon? I've actually ridden in a hot air balloon. It's so much fun. I'd rather ride in a helicopter because I've never had that happen before. And would I rather only be able to eat at your hotel buffet while traveling or only be able to eat street food? Ooh. I've actually never eaten the hotel food at all. I don't know why. We just don't. We always go out and eat street food. So I'd rather actually only eat street food for the amount of time that we're actually staying, depending on where we're staying. I'd rather eat the street food. Would I rather go on a bad honeymoon or the solo adventure of a lifetime? I'd rather actually go on a solo adventure of a lifetime. I would not want a bad honeymoon if I ever get married. That would not equal a fun life together if that was actually something you wanted to do. I know I have a short amount of time left, but I have nothing else to say because it's like within minutes of being finished here. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week and enjoy the rest of my video. I will see y'all in just a minute. Okay, I think that'll do it for our little training session. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I totally messed up a lot, rarely, but I did mess up quite a bit on a few of these races. I will say the ones down here in Jorvik Stables is one of my favorite areas right now since there's like so much you can do and so many jumping races you can do, and then the dressage is a lot of fun too. I usually don't mess up a lot on that one, but then again I think it's because I have my screen at a certain stage so I can actually see my recording process. But if you guys are enjoying my content so far, please like, subscribe, or comment. Your feedback is always welcome on my channel. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!